Hello, everybody. Happy February 18th. I had to look that up because I really did not know what day of the month it is. I am Raymond Camden. I am your host for today's code break. I appreciate you showing up and making me part of your day. I'll say this right in the beginning because somebody did complain last time. I do spend the first 5 minutes rambling about my personal life and whatever, weather, etc. I promise you there will always be code in Code Break. There will never not be code in Code Break. Um, Although for our Christmas special, it was just me and my friends talking about tech and stuff. But we will get to the code, I promise. If you are watching this live, please give me a shout out in the comments. I like to know that I'm not speaking to the void, although maybe the void's a good companion. I don't know. We'll see. Um, I'm still alive, still here, still very much on the hunt for my next role. If you are hiring for developer relations, developer advocacy, professional cat demo builder, I am probably the best bet you can have. So you should definitely consider hiring me. Mostly so I can skip this part. I've done it the last couple of code breaks. And I love my viewers. Boyd here. Stu, I think I missed you last time, so welcome back. Gil, the void abides. The dude abides, absolutely. My wife is a huge, huge fan of that movie. Uh, what else is going on besides me still looking for a job? It is cold here again. We had like two things ago, two code breaks ago. It was the week of the blizzard. I think last time it was warm. I think I was in shorts, and now I'm back in a hoodie again. It's crazy. And oh, thank you, Brian. You made it. I know, Brian, you're very busy. I appreciate it. I will make this worth your while. There'll be high value for every minute of content here. Thank you, Christopher. Again, thank you all. Like, I love the fact that y'all know that I have anxiety about people actually showing up, and you all chime in, and I really, really appreciate that. But yeah, so looking for a job. But I'm alive and healthy. I have a couple good contracting gigs, so I'm actually doing things. You follow my blog, you see I've been talking about box slang. I've been talking about all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm doing things, big important things. Um, but you know what? That's probably enough rambling, and I want to kind of get into it. I will say, so today's session is going to be a follow-up on the last two, where I've been talking about GenAI. We've built some pretty cool stuff the last couple sessions. In this session, we're still going to be talking about GenAI. In the marketing, I mentioned Chrome AI. It's not really the marketing term for it. AI in Chrome doesn't matter. And Transformers.js. I'm probably going to focus today just on the built-in Chrome stuff and not Transformers.js. We'll see how much time we have, and we'll see where I end up. Because I'm really wanting to move on from GenAI. I'm really excited about what my next topic is going to be. Very excited, but I don't want to say what it is until it gets closer. But that's enough rambling. Let me shift some things over here before I share my screen. It's probably a good way to automate this. I'll figure it out one day. Add the stage. There we go. All right. And no, Jason, you can't make me. No, you can't. I won't do it. You'll have to wait and see. So let me start off actually sending a quick shout out and thanks to my sponsor, jam.dev. They are an extension that you can add to make debugging your web apps easier for your end users. So your non-technical people who don't know what dev tools are, this can actually grab all the dev tools data, wrap it up, form a nice package, and send it to you. They've been sponsoring me now for month or so. So thank you. Big thank you to them. I definitely appreciate it. You can find out more at jam.dev. And speaking of jam.dev, there's also thejam.dev. And let me get that banner up here 1 second. So y'all have the URL. Home solid like that. The Jam.dev is a free virtual conference being run by Brian Rinaldi and others. They certified fresh events are the folks who host my stream and many other shows. They have this free conference tomorrow with a lot of smart people and me. I don't include myself in there. But free tickets, virtual. You could sign up and you could see there are some really smart people. Like, not even putting myself down. I feel like I'm the dumbest one here because these people are all really, really, really stellar. And this is tomorrow, so you could sign up today and participate at your leisure. And let's get into the meat of what I want to talk about today. So I've been looking at GenAI for over a year now, and still understand like about 1% of it. But I am absolutely really kind of excited about it, obviously, but also feel very positive about it. I don't necessarily think I feel as positive as Silicon Valley does, per se, and a lot of the investors. I think it's an incredibly useful helper tool. I've been using it in my editor. I've been using it in processes where it's like part of the process and it just helps. And I really, really kind of dig that idea. I do not believe that it will be replacing jobs, although I know some places are actually doing that. I think that's a mistake that they will regret. But whenever I look at GenAI, I think, okay, what process do I have now that it could come in and make things easier for me or just help me out? Give me feedback, for example. Even if it's feedback I don't agree with, that's still great feedback because it makes you really think about your own position, makes you think about what you believe to be true and kind of defend it to yourself. And in the end, make you feel more confident. So that, in a nutshell, is what I've been thinking about AI in general. This particular thing we're talking about today, AI on Chrome, or built-in AI. I'm not sure how Google is going to market this per se, but this is Google's attempt to see if it makes sense to actually ship AI features in the browser itself. This is obviously a bleeding edge type feature. It's only in Chrome, although I use Microsoft Edge. This is what you see on screen here is Microsoft Edge right now, and things are like already kind of popping up there as well. But it is a Chrome or Chromium only type feature for now, and it is basically a small Gen AI model. In this case, Nano. Nano is their small model um, that is put on the device itself that allows you to do Gen AI type stuff. Right now, you have to, you kind of have to. They have I say they, I mean Google, they have a form, and I was supposed to find this form beforehand. Here we go. That they ask you to sign up for, which is a bit different. Typically, there we go. Typically, when Chrome ships something new, they put a flag. They tell you about it. They tell you, okay, go see this flag, flip it, and then you can start testing it. Typically in Chrome Canary or Chrome Dev, and technically that's true of all this as well. But some of the documentation is hidden. I mean, it's a public URL, but they don't really share it with you until you go here and sign a particular form where you basically say, I'm Ray Camden. I don't work anywhere. I'm an organization so-and-so, and then they let you in. And basically, they will send you a couple of different URLs, deeper docs for the most part. They also point you to a Google group where people are chatting about these particular features and asking questions. I will say they are really, really good at responding, like within an hour or so. And at least for me, like that's the first time I've seen this in a new Chrome type feature. Um, normally I see it, I test it, and that's it. And then like a couple months later, it ships. But Google is taking a kind of slow, measured approach to this, and it's also a bit flaky. I'll be honest right now. So I know I first blogged about this in October, and like all that code doesn't work anymore, which is to be expected. You play with a bleeding edge feature, then you can expect things to break. Um, it's also just been a bit flaky in how it works, and I'll talk a bit more about that once I get into it. Once I kind of show you some things running. Uh, Outside of that, the actual code, it is very, very similar to what I was talking about Gemini in my last two sessions, where the code is actually like not hard at all. Like I think you could do a full demo in like 8 or 9 lines of code. The complexity really is like using it well. Where does it make sense, etc. Um, if I were to compare this API or these APIs, because there's multiple. If I were to compare this to like IndexedDB, which has been out for 10 plus years and is stable but is complex as hell, this is a heck of a lot easier. By the way, if you're in the audience and if you have used IndexedDB and you feel that pain too, give me a shout out in the comments. I will say there's actually DexyIDB. There's a great library for working with IndexedDB called Dexy.js. If you find yourself needing to use IndexedDB, then you should definitely take a look at this. I think I actually covered IndexedDB on my stream like a year or so ago. I don't know. I probably did. But so let's get back to this. So AI in the browser. Why? Well, number one, it's going to be private. There's not going to be, API calls going out to Google or Amazon or ChatGPT or whatever. It's literally going to be completely on the device. Second thing is that it can also work offline. So if you're building a PWA or just building a web app with offline support, you can actually use GenAI features in a completely offline environment. Now, you still have to download the model, and you'll see a bit more about that in a second. And so, but I mean, to be fair, that's true of any type of offline capable web app. You have to be online once. Like you have to be online one time to actually get those assets and have them cached and all that. So that applies to this particular feature as well. But once you get past that, then you can actually then use all this completely offline. So private, offline, etc. I think it works really well so far. A couple of things I'll point out. There is an API for like general chat, but Google doesn't talk about that at all. In fact, looking at this left-hand nav here, these are the main features I'll be talking about in a second. If I could speak for Google, I applied there too, but I can't. If I could speak for Google, I would say that they don't see this as a replacement for like ChatGPT. You're not going to have a random set of questions like why is the sky blue, why are cats better than dogs, etc. Instead, they are focusing on more task-based Gen AI type features, and you can see them on the nav here. Hopefully, it's not too small, but right now, go away, little experimental. They have an API for translation, for language detection, for summarization, and that is the three kind of top level features. And then they also have support for extensions. Now, I don't do Chrome extensions. I did one like 5 or 6 years ago, and it was cute, I guess, to see that running. But I personally have no interest in building extensions. But you can, and you could test how this stuff works in an extension type metaphor. I'm much more interested in the APIs and specifically the summarizer because this one is kind of cool because not only can it summarize, it can give you different types of summarization. So, for example, like when I normally think summary, I think like, okay, I gave you a blog post, give me a paragraph to talk about it, and they have that, but they also have like a TLDR. They have like a bullet point type thing. I shouldn't say like they have this thing, they have that thing. I should actually show you what they have. So there you go. Key. So type. They have different types. And I'm just seeing if I can find it in the docs. Yeah, I guess on top. So yeah, they can suggest a title or a heading, the key points or bullet points, or write a summary or a teaser. And I want to like today, I want to look at examples of all that kind of output just to see it. What they also have in here, let me see if they have it documented. Yeah, it's not documented here in the quote unquote public docs, but once you sign the form and they share more docs with you, you'll see it. And I've been told it's fine to talk about it. Uh, as part of this particular bucket, they also have a rewriter API and a writing API. I'm not really sure if the difference is, but um, you can do things like give a block of text. I need you to rewrite this to be shorter. And there's many examples of where that would make sense if you're trying to write copy for a social media post, Blue Sky and Mastodon, because those are the only social networks. There's nothing else. If you needed help to get what you're trying to say to fit in that particular format, you can do that. That's a great example. And also, just in general, all of these APIs work really good for progressive enhancement. So things like getting a summary. If I needed to summarize some content and it only worked in Chrome, I can offer that as an additional feature. So you can imagine that, let's say I'm writing a blog post and I need a summary or a headline or like a one sentence title. If I have a nice fancy CMS, it would not be difficult in JavaScript to say, hey, if this particular browser supports this feature, let's offer them the ability to offer a suggested title or a suggested summary or key points or whatever. All that can be added on for browsers that support it. I definitely see Google shipping this. Like I have no doubt that it will go forward. As for the other browsers, no clue. Firefox, I really only use Firefox now for my social media. I put all that and Reddit. I put all that in Firefox. That way, when I want to take a break, I switch browsers and I look at all the wonderful things on social media. And I'm on a Windows machine, so I don't use Safari at all. This is typically where I would say, of course, Apple will never support it because they're kind of behind in the web area. Where I would normally say it, to give them credit, Safari, I think, has been doing good the last year or so with web features. They've been more cooler, I guess, about just the web platform in general. So if I had complained about them many, many times in a row, I should also give credit where credit is due. So I can see them possibly implementing this as well. Anyway, that was a heck of a lot of talk and not a lot of code. What I want to do is I want to show you some of the code from the documentation and talk a bit about it. And then we're going to switch to a code pen. And I have an idea for a demo that I want to try. But so if you look at the docs, there's a bunch of things you have to do, like in terms of enabling things. I will say they talk about localhost I've never had to run it just on localhost. I've never had an issue with it running on Copin, for example. So you do have to do the flags here. So that's one particular flag. And you know what? We're in Edge, for the heck of it. Let's see what we see. And it does not exist in Edge. Yeah, there we go. Like I said, I've been seeing kind of weird, like partially supported stuff in Edge. So who knows? Uh, and then once you've done that flag, you need to check just to see if it's enabled. And I don't use self. This is for an extension, so this doc is a little bit wrong. It's focused on extension, not the web. I use window.ai instead, but you can check for window.ai and window.ai summarizer. So that is pretty easy. Now here comes the fun part, and this is the really kind of weird-ish, flaky part. Uh, the model that these AI features use it won't exist in the browser because it is a hefty download. So what Chrome does is basically say, when you check what is supported, and there is a function AI.summarizer.capabilities, and it's very similar for the translation and language detector and stuff like that. But when you check for it, it's going to respond three different ways. Like no, like I can't do this at all. Like I'm in a good Chrome, but I cannot do this. Readily, not the word ready, it's readily. That annoys the dog crap out of me that they went with that string readily or after download. Because what that means is Chrome has detected that, hey, I want to use this feature. I'm in a supported browser, but I don't have the model. And so I'm going to start fetching the model. Back in October, when I first began testing this, I swear it took like 3 hours. And I have a really good pipe, like it's great speed, etc. I swear it took hours. Maybe I'm being a bit dramatic, but it took time. They do support, I made that a little bigger for y'all. They do support the ability, let me use this little fancy thing I got recently, to essentially monitor and listen for the download of the model. So most of my code that I showed does not use this. It just says either you're supported or you're not. But you can actually write code that would sit there and wait for it to be ready and then turn things on. Once you've done that, you then essentially create an instance of the model. All right. This is done via create. You will pass multiple options, things like shared context, which to me reads a bit like system instructions. Basically, I think the example here is good. This is a scientific article. It gives the model kind of some direction in terms of what it's going to be summarizing. So if you're writing a recipe blog and you wanted to add this feature, then your shared context could say, this is a recipe. The type, and this is what I was talking about in terms of like, what kind of summary is going to come back. You can ask for markdown or a plain text, and then ask for length. And length is a bit funny because it's not like 100 characters. It's short, medium, or long. And what that means changes based on the type. So for example, how many bullets versus how long of a teaser paragraph. But it's really, that is it. This code block here, in terms of seeing if the model's there, checking if it's ready, etc. This here, where we create the summarizer, once you have that, then it's literally one call right there. Await summarizer.summarize, and you pass the context. You pass the input. You can also pass context again, which I could imagine if maybe your content has different types of articles. So it's recipes and it's travel stories and it's political stories. If you have different things, then you could pass a context when you ask for the summary. Or you can also just make multiple summarizer objects as well. So that's probably enough. Let's actually test this. And the first thing I'm going to do is show you what they don't want to support, really, which is kind of general prompt. This is a basic Alpine JS demo, and I am asking the language model, and that would be the general prompt, which again is not something that we expect to use often. But I check the capabilities, I check the available string, and if it is readily, then I consider it good. All right. That's how all my demos work. I don't do the event handler thing. You absolutely can and should. Maybe my next demo will have that. And then I essentially make a session which is going to start the chat. So if I say, why is the sky blue, and hit test and hit test, it's working. That is this right here. And it is session.prompt, and I'm just passing it in. And I get an answer. And yeah, that just worked. And in theory, this is a session. So if I keep talking, it will know what I mentioned before. So if I say, here's the breakdown. Let's try explain step 4 some more. Whereas we perceive the blue light. Let's see if it picked up on that. And I will point out, yeah, there we go. It did. Yeah. So it does have this context of a conversation, and this will apply to all of their APIs, as far as I know. You can also persist the session manually. So you can actually get the chat, the human, the AI responses. You could take all that. You can save it to local storage or IndexedDB. And then when you come back, you could take that existing set of data and initialize the model with that and have a continued conversation. So this is a working demo with Alpine.js. Now, so what I want to do, what I want to build for y'all in the next 30 minutes is an example of working with the summary API. And what I want to do, and this like just for my own needs, I've played with summary before, but I really want to get a better understanding of the different types of responses, as well as how length how length works. So what I want to do is I want to build something where I could just plop in a bunch of text, and then I want to ask for a response for every single type, every single length, and just print that out. So we can see, like, here's key points, short, medium, long. Here is type equals, I think, TLDR or like headline. You know, I want to see an example of all that so I can kind of gauge like what makes sense. So let's, I could fork this, but you know what? I think I may skip Alpine just to make it a little bit simpler, just to start a bit more vanilla. All right, so we're going to do a fresh code pin here. Window.ai.summarizer demo. For my HTML, like I said, I want a text area where I can plop my text in, and I'll need a button. So we'll just do text area ID equals input, text area. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to go back here to code pin just because I want to have my existing, no, stop it. I want to have my existing code ready for perusal. We'll do a little bit of CSS. What I really want to use is a commular. That's not a word, Raymond. I want to use 2 columns. I feel like I'm going to struggle doing that simple CSS live, so I won't. But I will add some width to my text area and some height to my text area as well, just to make it a bit easier. Make that 300, and we will have a button. And if I could type right, summarize, home saw like that. All right, we will make this all look better later. All right. Oh, and then one big div for results. All right, so let's write some JavaScript. I'm gonna make 3 variables for my DOM stuff. Make one for input, one for the summarize button. And I think I've said this before, but whenever I use variables that point to DOM elements, I use a $sign. It's an old jQuery thing. And results. And document add event listener. DOM content loaded. Init false. And let's make our init function. First, just grab the stuff from the DOM. So document.query selector. That was input. Oops, like that. And repeat it 3 times. So summarize. That ID was summarize. Summarize, and then the results button, results div, like this. All right. And just to make sure I have not done anything too stupid, we will console.log just to make sure it's there. It is. All right, so the next bit is I'm going to check for support. And I'm going to steal some code from actually the docs. Their nice full example here. I'm going to steal this and go back in here. And I don't like using const too often. I'm kind of weird that way. I'm just going to say let available. And I don't want to return. I'm going to basically alert. You can't do this. And then return. That way I get something. And like I mentioned, I am not checking for the downloads. I'm just going to say if not equal to readily. And this should work. I guess, yeah, it didn't alert. So let me just be, I like to be very specific. Let me just make sure I see readily in the console. Did I break something already? Because I'm not seeing my new thing. So let's open up the real console. Sometimes CodePen can't read it. Can't read properties of undefined. That's because I don't have, what you get when you copy and paste. Window.ai. And can't read properties of undefined still. So let's go into here. And so summarization is not available over here. And I've tested before in Chrome. So that's something that I mentioned. It's a bit flaky. I have seen it work like one day and not the other. So let's actually do what they did. Let's make sure we have it enabled in flags. And I see I'm missing the O there. I'll fix that in a second. Nano. I don't have it. So we will enable it. And let me make sure I save my pin. And we will relaunch. And like magic, it's going to work. He said, you can't do this. However, let's look at what available is returning. I bet you it's showing after download. Yes, yes, yes. It is not available at all. Well, that's not good at all. Window.ai. Actually go to the real console, window.ai. There's summarizer. Let's look at what it says here. Oh yes, allow pasting. Thank you. Hmm. So it's interesting. So window.ai.summarizer is showing up, but it's telling me capabilities is no, when in theory it should be at worst downloading. This may be a short, it may be ending early if I can't get this darn thing to work. This could be such as an insufficient available disk space to download the model. I don't believe that. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cheat here. I'm gonna go on localhost. I mentioned that it should work fine anywhere. Well, let's leave CodePen once I find it. I'm gonna copy the HTML into my body. I'm gonna copy my code into a script block, and I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna fire up a local web server here, and going to copy that URL over to my Chrome where I have it supported. Open up DevTools, and we will run it locally. You lie. Yes, I have it supported. Enabled. Right there. And I definitely have. Let me look at my Explorer here. And Brian, maybe use AI to fix the issue with AI. Possibly so. Let me make sure that like my hard drive isn't full. Yeah, I have 411 gigs free on C, so that should not be the issue. Like I said, this is just kind of flaky at times. And what's funny is that the kind of general language model prompt is working. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to reload one more time just to make sure. This is regular Chrome. I'm going to open up Chrome Canary. I have no idea what was in there before, so I'm going to quickly hide it once it loads. Oh, more AI stuff. Cool. All right. So let's open up my local host demo here. See if it works there. Oh, it works there. Perfect. All right. So Chrome Canary. So I am going to go back to CodePen. I got too many windows open now. Save it here. I'm going to log in to CodePen. Yep, and it's working there. Great. Readily. All right. So yeah, I should have been using Canary anyway. Like I said, I guess seeing the generic kind of chat work in my regular Chrome just got me confused. All right. So we support summarization. We are good to go. We are going to make a summarizer. So I'll declare it there. And we will look at their code. Nope, we will look at, like I said, too many windows. Too many windows. Where did I put? Aha, here we go. All right. So I will see how I want to do this. So I was going to make one summarizer object. But because it needs the options, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to make a bunch on the fly because I want to iterate, like I said, over each type and each length. So let's go back here and first add an event listener to the button, which was summarize. Summarize.add event handler. Click. Do summary. And add that function, do summary. First thing I'm gonna do is get the input text. So let input equals input.value. If input.trim equals empty string, return. And then let's just console.log. Going to work on input. We're just going to make sure that the actual button is working. Later on, I will add, I will disable the button while it works because this should take a few seconds. But hello world, click. Yeah, that's why I test. So summarize. Yeah, I didn't mess up that summarize. That should be a DOM item. Oh, unless I have a... Where's my syntax error? All y'all... Oh, how about adding the word function? Again, this is why I can't work for Google. I do dumb stuff. Enter some default text. Grammarly, go away. Turn off suggestions on CodePen. Click. All right. Still not working. Baby steps to make sure the click event is working. Save. Type some input. Hit click. Nope. So I messed up. Add event handler. Add event handler. Click. Yeah. I'm adding event handler to click. Summarize. I have a button. I have a click event. Why are you not working? Open up the regular DevTools. Add event handler is not a function. Add event listener. Oh, I'm making all the mistakes today. Listener. Yep, actually, that's the case where I think AI would have probably helped me a lot. Summarize, click, enter some input, click. All right, so get rid of that. All right, so now I want to start working with the code that I'm going to take from Google. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to say set result equals an empty string. And we are going to loop over each of the types and each of the lengths. So we'll say let types equals array, let lengths GTH equals array. I know this already. Short, medium, long. And for types, that was right here. Key points, and that's a dash, key dash points. TL, semicolon DR, teaser, and headline. And then now in theory, we can say for T and types, or let T and types, and then for let L and lengths. And just for the heck of it, we will say console.log about to try type T length L, just to make sure we haven't screwed up the basics. All right, so we saved, enter stuff, and not in, it should be of. It's the 5 billionth time I've messed that up. Try it again. There we go. So down in the console, you can see how to try type key points, length short, medium, long. So that is working fine. We'll keep the console in there because, again, I expect it's going to be slow-ish. We'll see. And we will steal some other code. So we'll take the options. And that's actually going to be... Oops. You know what? I'm going to kill this window. I'm done with that window. I'm going to take this one. And here we will make an options object and make that let. We do not have a shared context. In theory, my demo could have a text box for that. Type will be T. We will not use Markdown, actually. We'll make it plain text. That way we don't have to worry about grabbing the marked library. Plain text and length L. So that is our options object. We will make the summarizer. We'll say let summarizer equals that. And just to kind of keep track of what's going on, summarizer object made, we will get the result. And we'll say let summary equals summarizer, not summarize input, and we need to await that because that is async. And then in theory, we're done. Let's just, eventually I want to render this all out with, type length response. But for now, let's just see what we get. And how about text of, I'm going to misspell this horribly, Gettysburg Address. All right, that's shorter than I thought it would be. All right, let's paste this in. And actually, I'm going to cheat a little bit because every time I edit the code, CodePen's going to reload. So I don't have to keep copying and pasting. I'm going to drop in the text right into the text area. That way we have input. Tabs should be fine. Here goes nothing. Click. All right, it made the summarizer, and in theory, it's working. It did. There we go. So that was about 5 or 6 seconds. And that's the key points. So yeah, it's working. It's actually going a little quicker in something. So I think that could be a good part of the demo as well. Maybe is to add timing information, so we could see if certain summarization type methods are always going to be slower versus the other. But all I know now is that it's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding to my result object like this. Result plus equals. We'll use an H3. Say type. Length. I'm sorry, that's actually T. Length will be L. Close the H3. And then the summary. And I don't need a line break because the H3. And I'm going to render this as it works. So with the console.log up here. And we will say result.enter.html. Now this, it's bad to keep adding to the DOM like this because it's going to keep rejiggering the DOM tree. But this is a quick demo, so I'm going to say that's okay. And this will actually allow me to kind of see things as they work. Great question, Brian. It doesn't allow you to stream the result. It absolutely does allow streaming. Like I said, too many windows here. No. Yeah, somewhere on here. Yeah, right there. Right there. Streaming summarization. So yes, you can do streaming. But that wouldn't necessarily help in this case because I'm recreating a new object every single time. So if I was doing this in a real app, I would have one summarizer object, and I could absolutely stream it to render the responses back. And their docs are actually really good on this. Thank you, Brian. 2 sessions in a row, you've asked great questions. All right, so in theory, this is ready to go, and the UI is so-so. Here goes nothing. And I really need some UX there to actually tell me what it's doing. Let's just open this up, make sure it's working. Okay, no errors yet. Are you running? I don't think you're running. Let's try this again. Give more space for the output. And I screwed something up because it stopped and it didn't render. So let's look at the result is not defined. Yes, it's defined. What are you talking about? I don't make mistakes. Oh, yeah. I absolutely make mistakes. So results, it's results. All right, now I am convinced my code's gonna work. So much convinced that I'm gonna open a full page view, hit summary. And oh, look at that. Boom. Did I repeat short twice? Key points short, medium. Oh, it's asynchronous. Duh. Although I'm not sure why I'm seeing that short. So what I'm seeing now is completely my fault in terms of not handling it correctly. Yeah. So let's go back to here and let's think about why this was streaming. I am awaiting. So that should, and I'm immediately writing to the DOM, right? So let's also look. It's when we console.log, let's also log each one out. And yeah, so I'm creating the string. I'm immediately appending it. This should be single threaded, even with the await. This should not be doing what it's doing. Let me do one thing first. Let me do results.enter HTML equals working. Just so I get that initially. Gee, it seems like you're appending the complete result to the previous result. Yeah, so I don't think so. So result. Oh, I'm sorry I doubted you, Jason. You're absolutely correct. Bam. Jason, you are my favorite person. All the rest of you, be more Jason. He's absolutely right. So, actually I can get rid of this and just let that right here. Duh. All right, now it's going to be perfect. I'm so sure of this. I'm going to open up full page view. Yeah. And here goes nothing. Yeah, as Jason said, it had a pattern short. Yep. Yeah. Although, why aren't you, I did save it, right? I did save. I'm not seeing the working. Did I screw it up already? I did. Unexpected token. Where's that? Let result. Oh. Yep, I'm not plussing anymore. Yep, that was exactly right. Now it's 100% going to work, especially since I'm down to the last couple minutes here. Summarize. There we go. Nice. And so there is, you see the layout's a bit broken there. It's plain text. I should use like a pre tag or something. But there's probably line breaks in there, and you can see it. Yeah, it's adding more bullet points. One thing I will note is that it's a little weird that it uses dash for short, not star, but whatever. I love the idea that we're converting the Gettysburg Address to a TLDR. 3 sentences here, and as it gets longer and longer. Teaser. Actually, this is kind of this surprised me. This one right here, the Gettysburg Address is a short but powerful. So I almost consider this to be. Part of me wants to call us a failure because I'm asking it to summarize the text, not summarize the text in historical context, if that makes sense. And I could absolutely see people not agreeing with me on that. It recognized where the text came from, but I'm asking it to summarize just the text. Yeah, I could see that being very, very either way. But here are the headlines, and yeah. So again, pretty cool, I think. You could again imagine this being a CMS and you're writing a blog post, and you need the key points, you need the headline. You need stuff like this. This could be a good feature to add. Brian is saying, yeah, I love how the long is shorter than the medium. Yeah, text-wise it is, but I wonder, let's count the bullets here. So it's one bullet, two, three, four, five. This is one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So the longer has more bullets. This has less number of characters. I think that's fair. I think that's okay. Um, but that is also kind of unique as well. So I like this. I haven't blogged about this stuff from Google for a little while, and I am going to clean this up a little bit and publish this in a blog post so y'all could play with it. That was fun. So now, those of you in the room, now we have a choice. Let me hide this. So I stopped looking at to the side. All right. First off, thanks for the great comments. Thank you, Jason, for the save. Jason, thank you for the save in there. I greatly appreciate it. So for the people in the room, question for you: would you rather see me go into Transformers.js next time? So more AI in the browser, but open source JavaScript, multiple browser, or go to the mystery fun topic, which I think could be pretty exciting as well. No matter what we do, we're still doing the mystery fun topic. Just win in March. Anybody want to give me a quick vote before we wrap things up? Yeah, okay, one vote for mystery fun topic. I should point out, what I want to talk about is something I don't like, and I'm forcing myself to use something that I don't like, because I think it'd be great for my brain, and I think it'd be kind of a fun topic. Brian's plus oneing the mystery fun topic. Yeah, AI is a fad. It's gonna be gone by March anyway, so. All right, so Sue's voting twice. Oh, we have another one. Thank you, Beatrix. I don't think I've seen you before, so hello if this is your first time. Now I really want the fun topic. Yeah, okay, everybody is okay. So, Brian, like I mentioned earlier, Brian does the coordination for CFE. I will set it up. Brian, I may actually wait a little bit because I made like a big mystery. It's not really that big of a mystery. We'll wait a little bit before we announce the topic. Well, thank you for sharing, Beatrix. I definitely appreciate it. All right, I love y'all. Please be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Be healthy as much as you possibly can in these not so great times. It's people like y'all and my friends who make things livable. So thank you again. And I am going to see y'all later. Oh, I should say, next one is March 4th. So hope to see you there. Thank you again. And bye.